Before we check out my mock draft for the Broncos now that they are out of the playoffs, I do want to get the pulse of everyone watching. If both of these players are available when Denver's on the clock, who would you pick? Who would you turn in on the answer slip? Ashton Jeanty or Tyler Warren? What's going on, Broncos country? Coming up on today's show, we're going to run through a 2025 Broncos mock draft. This is our first mock draft of what's going to be mock draft season. Now that Denver is out of the playoffs, we can spend a little bit of time at looking ahead to April's draft. So a primer first, what is Denver working with? Here are their draft picks. They have a first, a second, a third. So finally, all three picks in the first three rounds. No fourth, no fifth. 3 6-round draft picks. They don't have a fifth. That goes to the Dolphins for the Bradley Chubb trade, and I can't remember where their fourth went, but I'm sure it'll come to me halfway through the video. So those are the 6 picks they are working with. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. In round 1, my mock draft, I went Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State. Let's discuss, shall we? I think there is a large number of people watching right now that are loving this and they are lapping it up. Some of you, and hey, that's fine, might want to go a different direction around 1. So let's talk it through, guys. First things first, let's look at the draft order because there's a fair contingency, and understandably so, of people that believe Ashton Jeanty is not falling to Denver at pick 20. Let's go through the draft order and try and find a spot where Jeanty could get picked. Now, trades could change things, and they will be changed, or trades will happen. But as things stand right now, looking at the top 10, I don't see a obvious spot. Maybe the Bears at 10. They had a bad ground game, would pair nicely with Caleb Williams, but I think they go offensive line or defensive line. But it's possible. Moving along, 49ers, no, they got Christian McCaffrey. Cowboys, maybe, but here's why I don't think so. If Mike McCarthy was still the coach, okay. New head coach, first draft, 12th pick, goes running back. You don't have to see running backs go in round 1. You definitely don't have to see them go to new head coaches in round 1. Dolphins are pretty good at running back. Colts have Jonathan Taylor. Falcons have Bijan Robinson. Cardinals, they just recently extended James Conner, so maybe, but I don't think so. Bengals, they like, not Zach Moss, he got injured. They like Chase Brown. Seahawks have a nice dual threat between Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. So I'm looking at this stretch right here, and I think this is kind of the territory where Jeanty could go, and I'm not seeing a obvious team in desperate need of a running back. So I could see Jeanty falling because teams are picking for their needs. You get to the Bucs at 19, they got Bucky Irving. They like him. I don't think they're going to go running back. And all of a sudden, the very first team that obviously needs a running back is the Broncos. So if you're in the belief of Jeanty's not falling to Denver, I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I can't say that for certain in January. But as things stand right now, barring any trades, I don't really see an obvious destination for Jeanty, which means I think he could very well fall all the way to 20 for the Broncos. And if he is there, I would love for Denver to turn in their draft slip with the name Ashton Jeanty on it, because the guy was a stud last year. Don't overthink it. 2,500 yards and 29 touchdowns. I know that college stats never are correlated over to the NFL, but 7.3 yards a carry. Please don't make me twist your arm. Look how good he is. Don't try and be the smartest guy in the room here. This is not requiring some deep, draft rumors. I'm going to try and outfox everyone. I'm almost running out of space on the line for pros. Like, one thing that I want to put on your radar is we also have to watch more Jeanty highlights. His balance. The guy takes contact, and it's as if he absorbs it all and is not redirected whatsoever. It kind of reminds me of, 5-year-olds trying to knock over a sumo wrestler. It's just cute to watch them try. but he never loses balance, never gets knocked off course. He's got great vision, excellent patience in the backfield to make sure the holes develop and turn open. Plus, no offense to the Boise State offensive line, but imagine what he would do behind an NFL offensive line. Speed, athleticism, all that is there. There's only real two cons. One con is he does take a ton of hits, which it just means he's not soft and he doesn't want to go out of bounds. The other con that people like to bring up is he went to a group of 5 school. He didn't play anyone. Who did he play, Paul? Didn't play anyone. There are some pretty good running backs that did not go to a now Power 4 school. Notable group of 5 running backs. Chris Johnson, East Carolina. Think he had a pretty good career. Alfred Morris, FAU. Doug Martin, who, by the way, fun fact, the last running back to be taken in round 1 that did not attend a Power 5 school. Michael Turner from NIU, Matt Forte back with the Bears, went to Tulane. So don't tell me it's impossible for a group of 5 running back to have a successful NFL career. Plus, Chris Johnson, LaDainian Tomlinson, I mean, those are 2 guys that really jump out to mind here that had excellent NFL careers. Chris Johnson, like we mentioned, when he went to ECU, and then LaDainian Tomlinson back in the day, TCU, which at the time was a Mountain West school. And we don't need to tell you guys about the careers they had. So I'm not going to subscribe to this idea of don't take Jeanty because he went to Boise State. They didn't play any good defenses. Can someone tell me what defenses Chris Johnson played in college that weren't any good? That meant he wouldn't be good in the NFL? I don't think so. So I'm all the way in on Ashton Jeanty in round 1. I feel like this is a don't overthink it. You desperately need a running back. Javonte Williams ranked 32nd out of 32 NFL leading running backs for all 32 teams with 533 yards, the lowest of every single team's leading rusher. Don't overthink it, please. I'm begging you. Before we look at rounds 2 and 3 of my mock draft, quick shout out to our sponsor today, Fume. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits led by the sponsor of today's video, Fume. It is an award-winning flavored air device. Fume fills the void ditching a bad habit can leave. You can still have something to reach for. It is not a vape, and it can be used as an alternative to vaping or quitting vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume cores are close to herbal teas. Fume has lots of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. Fume has already helped over 300,000 people build better habits. Try Fume today, and if you order the Journey Pack now using my code CHATSPORTS, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Go to tryfume.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen. All this information is in the comments and description of today's episode. Thanks so much to Fume for sponsoring today's episode. Once again, visit our site, tryfume.com/chatsports, or scan the QR code on screen. Fast forward to round 2 of the mock draft. After going running back in round 1, I went with tight end out of Michigan, Colston Loveland. Now, the Broncos are picking in the early 50s, so there is a chance that he might not be there in round 2, but don't get too attached to 95% of players and where they're expected to go. There's always mock drafts that come out right before the draft of, this guy's going to go round 1, and then he goes round 3. So for me, I saw Loveland available in round 2, and I didn't overthink the 6'5", 245-pound tight end that has some of the best separation ability for his tight end class in this year's draft. So why is he available in round 2 of the draft? Well, he unfortunately chose a bad time to have his final year at Michigan because they had the 1924 offense. There was no forward passes this season in Ann Arbor, which meant Loveland, who is a receiving tight end, basically got lost in the mix. And I think that hurt his draft stock, but I am trusting that Sean Payton, who brought in Bo Nix for a private workout and was sold after that private workout, is not going to let the Michigan quarterback this year dictate whether or not he takes Colston Loveland, who you can look at his numbers the last 2 years, and I know they don't really pop out to you as, wow, this guy's incredible. Keep in mind, the college game this day and age is not designed to stat the pass for a tight end. Most college offenses are predicated around one read, get it out to your wide receiver, or you're running the football. Very rarely do you see a team's first read be the tight end, and that's usually where the ball goes to for college quarterbacks this day and age. So Mel Kiper has Tyler Warren as his number one tight end. I think Tyler Warren has a better chance of going before the Broncos pick at 20 than Ashton Jeanty right now. There are just teams ahead of Denver who need tight end help, like, say, the Miami Dolphins, than running back help. Now, the thing that can change all this is when someone inevitably probably trades up. But if no one trades for the time being, I think based on the current draft order, Warren is going to go before Jeanty, which means Colston Loveland, his number 2 tight end, would be an excellent pick for Denver. Before we look at my third and final pick, because I'm just doing the first 2 days of the draft in today's mock draft, we are going to be your go-to spot all offseason long for free agency, for trades, and of course the draft. We do not take our foot off the gas whatsoever. Anyone that's been subscribed to this channel for 1 or 2 off seasons will tell you that in the comments. So make sure to subscribe. Help us reach our goal of 32,000 subscribers. Moving on to round number 3. This is going to get the comment section going. I'm going to go with running back Cam Skattebo. I know I took a running back in round 1, and I'm a little bit off my rocker right now. But just hear me out for a second, and maybe you'll agree with me after my little TED Talk. This is a little bit of pixie dust. Taking 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds of the draft, it's like practically unheard of, especially after you drafted a running back last year in day 3 with Audric Estime. 3 running backs in 2 drafts? What sane person would do that? The answer is Sean Payton, because he wants his next Taysom Hill. I mean, I think I can say we all, unless you were a fan of someone in the path of Arizona State, fell in love with Skattebo over the last couple of weeks of the college football season. And most importantly, his toughness and his versatility. 1,700 rushing yards, 605 receiving yards, showed some passing abilities as well, and 23 total touchdowns. Does that remind you of anyone like, say, Taysom Hill, who Sean Payton was enamored with and gave a big fat contract to, and really has not found that Taysom Hill 2 years into his job in Denver? Maybe he decides, if we're going to go with Cam in round 2 or round 3, we don't need to go with Ashton Jeanty in round 1. Or maybe he decides, you know what? I had Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. I would not mind having a 2-headed monster between Jeanty and Skattebo and just completely revitalizing our running back room, because it was a bad running back room in 2024. Let's just be honest. He is a complete bowling ball of a running back. And that analogy gets tossed out there a lot, and everyone's a bowling. This guy's different. This guy truly is a wrecking ball. He runs like his hair is on fire. He is a powerful, violent rusher that breaks tackles and makes you tackle him. He is not going down with a lazy arm tackle or a little push out of bounds. This guy's going to throw up on the sidelines and get back in the field. Now, the only cons I came up with him is he does have a knack for fumbling. That is a fair con to have. That, and he's probably going to not have a very good combine when his speed gets tested. My guess is his 40-yard dash is going to come in around 4.6, which is around where Estime was. And they chose him as well. So that might not be too much of a turnoff for the Broncos. But I'm just thinking about this trio joining Bo Nix. Tell me that's not going to move some mountains in the Rockies. Ashton Jeanty in the backfield. Cam Skattebo in this hybrid Taysom Hill role. Colston Loveland at tight end. snapping the skid of very, very poor tight end play for the Broncos, really since like Julius Thomas, honestly. And then Cortland Sutton, Bo Nix, and the rest of that rising receiving core, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin. Is that an offense you can get behind? Because I'm in. I know I didn't address defense, and you kind of want to, spread your chips around a little bit, diversify your portfolio, but I'll wait on defense a little bit later. I want to invest in Bo Nix. So how would you grade my mock draft? A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comment section below what letter grade you'd give it. And while you're doing that, one quick final shout out to our sponsor, Fume. Thanks so much to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Scan the QR code and use code CHATSPORTS to get your free Fume topper when you order your Journey pack today.